Hello, my gorgeous Aries. This is your weekly horoscope tarot card reading, and it's in between the 11th and the actual 17th of July 2022. When it comes to the beginning of this week, you know, there is going to be a little frustration that you are going to become aware of. And the frustration that you are going to become aware of is going to come from the actual fact where you're going to become aware of like something being delayed, something so important to you, something so significant to you, it's actually going to be delayed. And this is when this frustration is going to come up. But an important thing to actually remember at this moment in time, that this frustration is actually coming up from the point of you not kind of facing the facts, okay? And this in itself is going to resolve in you being a rather indecisive. So it's going to start with a little bit of a delay, and then it's going to start with this frustration, which is going to happen purely because you failed to kind of face certain facts. So now this is going to put you in the mode of the actual indecisiveness. So you're going to find yourself being indecisive, but then at the same time there is going to be quite interesting news and message that you're also going to get. So it's absolutely nothing to worry about whatsoever, because the news that you're going to get is going to be quite good, but then at the same time it is kind of gonna, everything is going to start making sense here. Everything is going to start making sense, because now suddenly you're going to find yourself on a very interesting stage in your life, on a very interesting path in your life, my gorgeous Aries, indeed. And that means that this situation is going to work actually really good for you. It's going to work brilliantly, purely because the certain desires which you are going to realize are going to be absolutely everything at this moment in time, because these desires that you are going to realize, there is just so much more to them, you know, because you are going to kind of understand so much about yourself after that moment in time. You're going to be able to kind of gain the bigger picture, but also most importantly, it's almost like, you know, you're going to feel this so strongly, these desires that you're actually going to realize, and that in itself it's going to be a very, very strong point in your life when it comes to you really kind of grounding yourself, centering yourself, but also at the same time understanding what your role is on this earth, you know. So yes, this is actually going to turn into something so deep, my gorgeous Aries. So this is what you need to remember. So when I said at the beginning of the reading, you know, it's going to be a little bit of delay, a little bit of frustration, but then again, this is going to put you in the certain mode where you're going to be kind of needing to really kind of dive rather deep within yourself, and that in itself is going to highlight things that should have been highlighted, things that have always been there, but sometimes, you know, they are kind of hidden. So it's just on us actually to understand the importance of them, because it's to do with something very specific when it comes to our spiritual journey. So this in itself is going to mean to you so much. So this is going to boil down to you realizing desires, but also at the same time, you know, it's like recognizing important abilities which are going to turn into ideas. So this is absolutely brilliant, and it's almost immediately going to kind of make you feel really optimistic. It's going to like kind of rejuvenate you. It's going to increase your energy. It's going to raise your vibration, you know. So you are kind of going to feel, oh my God, like things are finally moving on, you know, things are finally changing. So by the time you get to the mid part of this week, you know, and it's like, you see, this is so important, because now it's to do with like what you're going to start to begin to understand about yourself and about your life, you know, about your mission on this earth. And I'm talking about this week being so spiritual, and also, you know, this is what you're going to start to understand at around the midweek. It's at the same time going to start really changing your life in the best possible way, because it is just all about a kind of like realizing that, you know, maybe things about which you have been worrying about so much, they are not as bad. You shouldn't be worrying about them. You know, you should just really understand after this moment in time that now you must really put yourself as number one, and just like really kind kind of like try to make out, try to kind of get out of the situation as much as you possibly can. So it's all about the beginning of an important understanding that you will know that this is, my Lord, the moment where you are going to start reaching towards your own enlightenment in life. And now suddenly, the things that this is going to reflect on your patience. This is good, because suddenly you're gonna kind of understand the importance of being patient, but also at the same time the path which is going to be provided to you, an unfoldment of the path that you're going to become aware of, like very strongly here. Normally it would put you off. It's purely to do with like a waiting. It's like to do with a waiting game. But now you will understand the power of actually being patient here, and that in itself is bringing a whole new wonderful harmony into your life. And it's also going to really make you aware of the fact that you should be paying attention to the actual adjustment that you are going to need to make. And the adjustment that you're going to need to make in your life, it's going to come from someone so beautiful and so important and so significant in your life, which is that person is going to play an important role at around the midweek as well, because that person is beautifully going to be influential at the time when you need this the most. And there are very specific people in our lives that we have that mean to us so much, that are so important to us, and they are there for so many different reasons, and we learn through them so much, and they're learning through us so much. But at the same time, these people are playing an absolutely giant role, especially when it comes to like being inspired by them. So it's about this person who is actually going to really be superb to you, very influential. It's going to inspire you, but through that person you're going to understand that what you're doing, it's going to be very, very successful, because this is quite a lot about you being brave, you being strong, and you understanding that just sometimes in this life you most importantly have to swim against the current. It really depends what your spirit journey is and where are you at the moment. So of course that this is important. And also the little sign that you are going to have by the time you get to the actual also the last part of this week, there is going to be like quite interesting sign that you are going to have. And this interesting sign that you are going to have, I'm talking about an omen, I'm talking about a certain animal, I'm talking about a bird specifically. And this bird that you're going to become aware of at around the end of the week, it's more about listening to this bird. It's more about hearing the bird sounding very, very loud, sounding very, very unusual, sounding very, very different. This is going to happen at around the end of the week, and you are going to pick up on this noise. You are going to pick up on that sound, because it's so much to do with your specific vibration, with your specific energy, with your specific spiritual journey. There could be 10 people outside, and none of them would be able to kind of hear this, or they would hear this sound, but none of it is going to hear the way you are going to hear this. So what does that mean? This is going to get your attention. This is going to gain your attention when you hear the bird, which is really loud, and you can be at any kind of, in any place in your home, or you could be outside. It doesn't matter where you are. You're going to become aware of it. And also, even more interesting, this sign is going to be pointing out towards an obstacle on your mind. At that very moment in time, you will see the power of synchronicity. You're going to become aware of the certain problem, an obstacle. There is something kind of going to be bothering you so much. There is something that is going to be bringing you down in your mind. There is something that is going to be slowing you down, and it's important to get this right. It's important to get this energy going, because seriously, it all starts with our own mind. Okay, so if you're kind of thinking negatively about the time ahead, or about some kind of like a journey that you're starting, or the things that you're trying to do, especially in the form of an obstacle, you're only going to slow yourself down. So you just need to understand to release the energy, negative energy at that moment in time. This is very important. So when you become aware of like a really loud bird at around the end of the week, this is what you need to remember. Just immediately pay attention to what obstacle are you were you thinking about, what were you kind of focusing on, because it's trying to let you know that this is going to be absolutely fine. That obstacle that that you're thinking about, you just need to kind of like really change your mind about it and bring it up as much as you can, you know, in sense of like maybe talking about it, in sense of like being optimistic about it, and in sense of like changing your mind and making something that is just so oh no, like a horrible challenge, making something like to an excellent, brilliant challenge that you know that you're gonna do really great. So this is something that you need to remember, very important indeed. And also, you know, you are gonna come across the person. This is like a little spiritual test at around the end of the week also, like, you know, when it comes to like a person being like I mean at around the end of the week I can see it very strongly, but also it's just like kind of like it could happen at any point this week where you're gonna come across as somebody who's like a very narrow-minded indeed. And when you become aware of that person who is quite narrow-minded, what you need to remember is like, please, my Lord, try to remember to avoid argument as much as you possibly can, because it's all about you becoming aware of someone very narrow-minded. But it's not only about someone being narrow-minded, it's also about someone being quite malicious, really, to be quite honest with you. So there is no point like to go down these waters, you know, they're way too dark, you know. So it's just like kind of like being aware of this and trying to remove yourself from that situation in the best possible way and try to rise above this, okay? It's almost as if someone is going to try to like kind of wind you up, you know, and it's to do with like an argument with someone who's like a narrow-minded and malicious, you know. It's not only narrow-minded but also quite malicious, and I would just like kind of like try to stay away from it and try to rise above it, try to have a smile on your face and try to avoid this confrontation whatsoever. So if someone is trying to wind you up, just understand that this is the power of this like kind of amazing energy that you're gonna find so beneficial in so many different ways. You need to understand this. I know it sounds absolutely crazy, but if you like kind of like a really kind of bite back, if you argue back, you're only going to slow yourself down. This is the part of your challenge, this is the part of your spiritual journey. You need to rise above it. And although at that moment in time it's not going to feel like it whatsoever, but if you kind of argue back, then you're just going to get stuck even more. So please, you just need to rise above it. And it's not only about unstacking yourself and having like a really nice like a spiritual reward after that moment in time. What it is, as soon as you rise above it, your job would be like to make this other malicious person like not even aware of your feelings or anything, just to make that person like, yeah, okay, whatever, see you later, you know. And then don't allow this person to kind of understand how you feel or anything like that. That would be superb response, really. And this is all kind of part of your challenge. So what would you need to do, my gorgeous Aries, is just most importantly, very few days after that moment in time, just rise above it. It is your spiritual challenge. I mean, come on, it can be easy, you know. Just understand how sharp and how powerful you are when it comes to your spirituality, when it comes to your intelligence. And only the fact that you are aware of this, it's only showing your intelligence, you know, in so many different ways. So just take this as like a really amazing challenge, because few days later, you are gonna have a wonderful reward when it comes to this, you know. And that in itself, it's going to really, the reward is gonna come in you. Really very, very much so. Like a few days later, you are gonna kind of like have a point where you're gonna be able to recognize an absolutely mind-blowing investment, a really, really wise investment when it comes to your life and when it comes to doing the best possible thing ever. This wise investment is gonna be absolutely life-changing, and before life-changing things, there is always a challenge, and it's the way it is on this planet, on this earth. You see, spiritually, sometimes we need to work for things, but also at the same time we need to understand of the power of the positivity and optimism and the power of avoiding negative energy. If you understand that someone is narrow-minded, if you understand that something is wrong with someone, why would you fight back? Why would you argue back? Why would you even waste your energy? So this is what I'm talking about. You know, I know it sounds absolutely crazy, but when you get this right, you know, your spirit is going to rise on the level 77. This is a powerful level 77, which means that, you know, you are going to become aware of one of the wisest investments of your life. Very much so. Very few days later, in a little bit few days later, there is going to be the moment where you're going to become aware of the wise investment, and otherwise you wouldn't be aware of it. Okay, I know it sounds really like kind of weird, but it is how things are going to unfold indeed. Okay, my gorgeous Aries, this is important week. You are moving forward indeed, and I'm telling you, you are going to like it. Just remember to communicate as much as you can, talk as much as you can, and if someone winds you up, do not waste your energy on people who don't mean anything to you. Just take it as a great gift, that you are able to see through things, for what they are. See through people for what they are. They don't need to know how you feel. Very important indeed. Okay, my gorgeous Aries, thank you ever so much for watching my videos. I'm sending you brightest blessings, lots of love, healing, peace and light to every single one of you. So I'm sending you brightest blessings, lots of love, healing, peace and light to every single one of you. Thank you ever so much for watching my videos. Sasha Bonasin, Psychic Medium. Love you. Bye.